help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts on the video. Your feedback helps make the contents better. Now let's get to the story.
My name is Derek Matthews. I'm 34 years old, and I'm staring at my phone like it just grew fangs and bit me. The text from my ex-wife glows on the screen. We need to talk urgently. It's been exactly 1 year, 2 months, and, if I'm being precise, 17 days since our divorce was finalized. Not that I'm counting or anything. I'm sitting across from my date at this overpriced Italian restaurant in downtown Chicago, the kind of place where they describe the pasta like it's a religious experience. And my date? Well, she happens to be Emma, my ex-wife's younger sister. Life has a twisted sense of humor like that. "Everything okay?" Emma asks, noticing my expression. I flip my phone face down on the table and smile. "Just spam, nothing important." But here's the thing. I should probably back up and explain how I ended up here, because this story doesn't start with revenge. It starts with humiliation, betrayal, and a cliché so perfect it could be a country song. 3 years ago, I married Rebecca Matthews. Well, she was Rebecca Chen back then. Beautiful, ambitious, and exactly the kind of woman who made me want to be better. We met at a marketing conference in Seattle. She laughed at my terrible presentation jokes, and I was hooked. 6 months of long-distance dating later, I proposed on the same stage where we first met. Everyone said it was romantic. Looking back, it was probably just convenient. The first 2 years were good. Not perfect, what marriage is, but good. We bought a house in Naperville, one of those cookie-cutter suburban homes with a 2-car garage and a backyard we swore we'd use for barbecues. We hosted exactly 0 barbecues. Rebecca's career in pharmaceutical sales took off like a rocket, which meant long hours, business trips, and me eating dinner alone most nights. But I supported her. That's what you do when you love someone, right? I was working as a software developer for a mid-sized tech company, pulling decent money but nothing spectacular. While Rebecca was closing 6-figure deals and getting promotions, I was debugging code and attending Zoom meetings that could have been emails. The dynamic shifted, subtle at first. Little comments about my comfortable career, jokes about me being the house husband when we were out with her work friends. I laughed along because, hey, what else could I do? Then came the business trips with Marcus. Marcus Chen, Rebecca's work partner. 42, divorced, drove a Tesla, wore suits that probably cost more than my monthly salary. He joined her company about 8 months before everything went to hell. Suddenly, all her trips required Marcus to be there too. We're closing a major deal in Atlanta. Marcus and I need to present in Denver. It's just easier if we share the rental car. I'm not proud to admit that I was an idiot. The signs were neon bright, but I convinced myself I was being paranoid, insecure, jealous. Rebecca wouldn't do that. We were married. We took vows. I found out the truth the stupidest way possible. I came home early from work one day, food poisoning from some questionable sushi, and found Marcus's Tesla in our driveway. Not parked on the street, in our driveway, like he owned the place. I walked in through the front door and the house was quiet. Too quiet. You know that feeling when your gut just knows something is wrong? That primal instinct that makes every hair on your body stand up? I had that. And still, some pathetic part of me hoped I was wrong. I wasn't wrong. I'll spare you the graphic details, but let's just say they weren't going over quarterly reports in our bedroom. The confrontation that followed was ugly. Rebecca didn't even have the decency to look guilty. She looked annoyed. Annoyed that I'd come home early. Annoyed that I was making a scene. Marcus, to his credit, at least had the sense to grab his pants and leave. "It just happened, Derek," Rebecca said, like she'd spilled wine on the carpet instead of destroying our marriage. "You're never around emotionally anymore. Marcus understands me." That line, that goddamn line. I was never around emotionally. I was home every night while she was out closing deals. But sure, I was the problem. The divorce was swift. Rebecca wanted out fast, probably so she could make things official with Marcus without the mess of being a cheater. I didn't fight her on much. I was too tired, too broken. She got the house. She had paid more of the mortgage anyway, she argued. I got the beat-up Honda Civic and whatever furniture she didn't want. I moved into a cramped one-bedroom apartment on the north side of Chicago, the kind of place where the walls are so thin you can hear your neighbors' conversations and life choices. For months, I was a disaster. I went to work, came home, ordered takeout, and watched Netflix until I passed out. My friends tried to help, but what do you say to a guy whose wife was cheated on him with someone richer, older, and apparently more emotionally available? There's no Hallmark card for that. Then, about 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Emma. Emma Chen, Rebecca's younger sister, 28, working as a graphic designer, and here's the important part, nothing like Rebecca. Where Rebecca was calculating and ambitious, Emma was warm and genuine. We'd always gotten along during family gatherings, but I'd never really known her beyond surface-level small talk. We bumped into each other at a coffee shop in Wicker Park. She was surprised to see me, asked how I was doing with that careful tone people use when they know your life imploded. I gave her the standard, doing fine, moving forward speech. She didn't buy it. Rebecca told the family it was mutual, Emma said, stirring her latte, that you both grew apart. I laughed, actually laughed. Is that what she said? Emma's expression shifted. That's not what happened, is it? I don't know why I told her the truth. Maybe because she seemed genuinely interested, or maybe because I was tired of pretending everything was fine. I laid it all out. The affair, Marcus, the humiliation. Emma's face went from shocked to disgusted to angry. I'm so sorry, she said. I had no idea. Rebecca always makes everything sound like it's someone else's fault. That conversation led to another coffee meetup, then lunch, then dinner. Emma and I had this easy chemistry, the kind where you lose track of time because you're actually enjoying the conversation. She made me laugh again, reminded me that I wasn't some broken thing that Rebecca had discarded. Before you start judging, no, I didn't pursue Emma to get back at Rebecca. That's not how it started. But did I realize, somewhere around our 4th or 5th date, that Rebecca would absolutely lose her mind when she found out? Yeah, that thought definitely crossed my mind. And did it add a little extra sweetness to the whole thing? I'm only human. Now, back to that text message burning hole through my phone. Emma and I had been seeing each other for about 4 months, keeping things quiet. Not secret, exactly, just private. We weren't posting couple photos on social media or showing up to family events together. Emma wanted to make sure we were real before dealing with the inevitable family drama. I respected that. But tonight was different. Tonight, we'd decided we were going to make things official. Post-dinner, we'd planned to tell Emma's parents, and by extension, Rebecca would find out. Hence, the nice restaurant, the bottle of wine, the fact that I'd actually ironed my shirt. And then Rebecca's text arrived, crashing into my evening like a wrecking ball. We need to talk, urgently. I picked up my phone and typed back, another time, I'm on a date with your sister. I hit send before I could overthink it. Emma saw my expression change. What did you just do? I might have just started World War III, I said, showing her the text exchange. Her eyes went wide, then she started laughing. Not a polite chuckle, a full-on head-back laugh that made other diners glance our way. Oh my God, Derek, you didn't. I absolutely did. My phone started buzzing immediately. Call from Rebecca. I declined it. Another call. Declined. Then the texts started flooding in. This isn't funny. Derek, I'm serious. We need to talk. Are you really dating Emma? That's sick. You're disgusting. Call me back now. I muted the conversation and put my phone away. Whatever Rebecca wanted could wait. For the first time in over a year, I felt something other than numbness or anger. I felt powerful. If you're enjoying this story, stick around because things are about to get a whole lot messier. Trust me, this is just the beginning. The next morning, I woke up to 47 notifications on my phone. Texts from Rebecca, voicemails from her, even an email with the subject line, urgent, call me. I ignored all of it and went for a run. There's something therapeutic about pounding pavement when your ex-wife is having a meltdown. When I got back to my apartment, I found Emma sitting in her car outside my building. We need to talk, she said as I approached. Great. Everyone needed to talk. We went up to my apartment and Emma looked nervous. Rebecca called me last night, several times. Then she showed up at my apartment at midnight. Midnight? Seriously? She was crying, Derek, full-on sobbing. She kept saying you're using me to hurt her, that you're manipulating me. I felt my jaw tighten. And what did you say? I told her the truth, that we're together because we actually like each other, not because of her. But she wouldn't listen. She just kept crying and saying I betrayed her. Emma sat down on my worn couch. Then she said something weird. Weirder than showing up at midnight? She said he needs to know about the baby. The room tilted sideways. What? That's what she said. He needs to know about the baby. Then she left. I stood there, processing. Baby. Rebecca was pregnant? With Marcus's kid? Was that why she needed to talk urgently? But why would I need to know? Unless… No way. She's not saying it's yours, is she? Emma asked quietly. That's impossible. We didn't, not for months before the divorce. I was doing the math in my head. The divorce was finalized 14 months ago. We'd stopped sleeping together at least 2 months before that, so 16 months minimum. There's no way. But even as I said it, doubt crept in. What if there was some overlap I wasn't remembering? What if Rebecca was about to claim I was the father of her baby to complicate her relationship with Marcus? Or worse, what if she actually believed it? You need to talk to her, Emma said. Not for her sake, for yours. If she's going to claim you're the father of her baby, you need to get ahead of this. She was right. As much as I wanted to keep ignoring Rebecca, this was too big to dodge. I called Rebecca from Emma's car. She answered on the first ring. Finally, she said. Her voice was strained. Derek, we need to meet, in person. Just tell me now, are you pregnant? Silence. Then, can we please meet? This isn't something to discuss over the phone. Rebecca, are you pregnant? Simple question. Yes, I'm 5 months pregnant. 5 months. I did the math again. That was December, January. We'd been divorced over a year at that point. Congratulations. I'm assuming Marcus is thrilled? That's the thing, Derek. Her voice cracked. Marcus isn't the father. You are. I actually laughed. No, absolutely not. That's impossible. Do you remember Thanksgiving last year? Thanksgiving, 14 months ago, right before we'd started the divorce proceedings. We'd had this terrible argument about spending the holiday with her family versus mine. We ended up staying home, drinking too much wine, and having one of those angry, desperate sex encounters that couples have when they're trying to convince themselves the relationship isn't over. Oh no. That was over 14 months ago, Rebecca. You said you're 5 months pregnant now. The math doesn't work. I said I'm 5 months along now, but I found out I was pregnant 2 months ago. I was already 3 months pregnant when I found out. Derek, I haven't been with anyone else since you, only Marcus, and that started after we separated. You were sleeping with Marcus before we separated, I corrected, and I don't believe for a second you haven't been with anyone else. I'm telling you the truth. The baby is due in April. That's 16 months from Thanksgiving. Derek, you're the father.
My head was spinning. Even if what you're saying is true, and I'm not admitting anything, why tell me now? You've known for 2 months. I was scared. Marcus and I were trying to figure things out, but now… She stopped. Now what? Marcus left me, and when I told him the baby might not be his, he lost it. He moved out last week. Derek, I'm alone. I'm pregnant, and I don't know what to do. And there it was, the real reason for the urgent text. Not guilt, not honesty, desperation. Rebecca's perfect new life with perfect Marcus had imploded, and she needed a backup plan. That backup plan was me. Get a paternity test, I said, the kind they can do before birth. You get that done, and if, and this is a massive if, the baby is mine, we'll talk about what comes next. Until then, leave me alone. Derek, please. I hung up. Emma was staring at me. So? She claims I'm the father of her baby. Says it happened Thanksgiving, 14 months ago, right before the divorce. Do you think she's telling the truth? I think she's panicking because Marcus dumped her and she needs someone to play dad. I rubbed my face. But there's a chance, a very slim chance, she might be right about the timing. Then you need that paternity test. Already told her to get one. Emma was quiet for a moment. Derek, if that baby is yours, what does that mean for us? It was a fair question. What would it mean? Co-parenting with my ex-wife who cheated on me? Child support? Custody battles? My life, which had just started to feel normal again, was about to get infinitely more complicated. I don't know, I admitted. But whatever happens, it doesn't change how I feel about you. She smiled, but I could see the worry in her eyes. And honestly, I was worried too. The next few weeks were tense. Rebecca scheduled the prenatal paternity test, which required her blood sample and mine. We met at the clinic, barely speaking to each other. She looked tired, her usual polished appearance replaced with sweatpants and exhaustion. Part of me felt bad for her, a very small part. The test would take about a week to get results. During that week, I did what any rational person would do. I spiraled. I researched father's rights, child support calculators, co-parenting strategies. I lay awake at night imagining worst-case scenarios. Emma tried to be supportive, but I could tell the situation was wearing on her, too. We'd gone from happily dating to potentially dealing with a baby in the span of 2 weeks. I also started noticing things, little details that hadn't added up before, like how Rebecca mentioned Marcus left her when she told him the baby might not be his. Might not. That meant she wasn't certain. But she told me with complete confidence that I was the father. Why the discrepancy? Then there was the timeline. 5 months pregnant now, found out 3 months ago. That meant she was 2 months pregnant when Marcus and she were still together. Why not tell him immediately? Why wait? I decided to do some digging. Rebecca's best friend, Amanda, had always liked me. Even after the divorce, she'd sent me a message saying she was sorry about how things ended. We'd gone coffee once and she'd hinted that Rebecca wasn't telling me the whole story about the affair. I reached out to Amanda. We met at the same coffee shop in Wicker Park where I'd reconnected with Emma. Thanks for meeting me. I know this is weird. Amanda stirred her coffee. Rebecca's going to kill me for even being here, but honestly, I'm tired of her drama. She told me she's pregnant, says I'm the father of the baby. Amanda's expression didn't change. She told me that too. Do you believe her? Derek, I love Rebecca. She's been my best friend since college, but she has a pattern of bending the truth when it suits her. Amanda leaned forward. Did she tell you about the abortion? My blood went cold. What abortion? About 2 years ago, she got pregnant and had an abortion. She never told you? No, she'd never stopped. 2 years ago. That was during our marriage, back when things were still good, or so I thought. Whose baby was it? She told me it was yours, that you two weren't ready for kids yet and she didn't want it to derail her career. We never discussed having an abortion. We talked about kids eventually, but the realization hit me. She made that decision without telling me. I thought you knew. When she told me later that you didn't, I was shocked. But Rebecca has this way of justifying things to herself. She probably convinced herself she was protecting you from a difficult decision. This was too much. My ex-wife had gotten pregnant during our marriage, terminated it without telling me, then cheated on me, and now claimed I'm the father of another baby? The lies just kept stacking. Amanda, is there any chance this baby isn't mine? She was quiet for a long moment. Rebecca has always been, let's say, flexible with the truth when she needs to be. When Marcus left her, she panicked. She needed stability, and you represented that. You've always been the reliable one. So she's lying. I don't know if she's lying or if she's convinced herself of her own version of events. With Rebecca, it's hard to tell the difference. I left that coffee shop feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, about Rebecca, was a lie. The woman I loved, who I trusted, had been deceiving me for years. The paternity test results came back on a Thursday. I was at work when I got the email notification. I couldn't open it. I just stared at my computer screen, my finger hovering over the mouse, unable to click. Finally, I called Emma. The results are in. Do you want me to come over? Yes. She met me at my apartment after work. We sat on the couch, my laptop between us. Ready? I asked. Ready. I opened the email, scanned the technical jargon, found the conclusion. Probability of paternity, 0%. I read it 3 times to make sure. 0%. The baby wasn't mine. Emma threw her arms around me. Oh, thank God. I felt nothing. Then everything. Relief, anger, vindication, rage. Rebecca had looked me in the eye and told me I was the father. She'd put me through weeks of stress and anxiety, made me question everything, and it was all a lie. I need to call her. Derek, wait. But I was already dialing.
Rebecca answered with hope in her voice. Derek, did you get the results? You want to tell me the truth now, or should I start? Her silence told me everything. You lied, I said.
The baby isn't mine. You knew it wasn't mine. Why did you do this?
I thought there was a chance.
No, there was zero chance, and the test proves it. You lied because Marcus left you, and you needed someone to manipulate. Well, congratulations, Rebecca. You just lost the last shred of respect I had for you.
Derek, please, I'm sorry. I was desperate. I'm going to be a single mother, and I was scared.
That's not my problem. You made your choices. You cheated on me, you lied to me, and now you tried to trap me with a baby that isn't even mine. We're done. Don't contact me again. I hung up. Emma was watching me carefully. How do you feel? I feel like I finally see Rebecca for who she really is, and I'm done letting her control my life. But here's the thing. I wasn't done. Not yet. Because Rebecca had spent months making me feel small, worthless, like I was the problem in our marriage. She'd humiliated me, gaslit me, and tried to trap me one last time. And she was going to get away with it, move on with her life, probably find some other guy to manipulate. That didn't sit right with me. If we're being honest, this is where the story takes a turn. This is where I stopped being the nice guy who took the high road. Because sometimes the high road is just another word for being a doormat. Are you still with me? Good, because here's where things get interesting. I spent the weekend thinking, planning. Rebecca had played games with my life, and it was time she learned that games go both ways. First, I needed information. I called Amanda again. I need to know everything, I told her. Everything Rebecca's been hiding. Amanda hesitated. Derek, I don't want to be in the middle of this. You're already in the middle. You told me about the abortion. There's more, isn't there? She sighed. Rebecca's been embezzling from her company. I almost dropped my phone. What? Not a lot, small amounts over time. She's been using a company credit card for personal expenses and covering it up by filing false expense reports. I only know because she told me when she was drunk one night. She said everyone does it, that it's basically part of her compensation. That's fraud. I know, but Derek, if you report her, I'm not going to report her. Not yet. An idea was forming. What else? She lied about her degree. On her resume, she says she has an MBA from Northwestern. She started the program but never finished. The company never verified it because she was so good at her job. This was better than I'd hoped. Rebecca had built her entire life on lies, and now those lies were going to catch up with her. One more thing, Amanda said. Marcus, he's married. His divorce isn't final. His wife had no idea about Rebecca until recently. She showed up at Rebecca's office last week and caused a scene. The picture was getting clearer. Marcus's wife found out about the affair, confronted him, and that's probably why he left Rebecca. It wasn't about the baby. It was about saving his marriage and career. Thank you, Amanda. Derek, whatever you're planning, be careful. Rebecca can be vindictive when she feels cornered. I'm counting on it. Here's what I did next. I contacted Rebecca's company. Not to report her. That would be too obvious. Instead, I posed as a reference checker for a potential new employer who was interested in hiring her. I spoke to HR and asked them to verify her employment dates and salary. Then, when asked about her MBA, there was a pause. I'll need to check with our records, they said. Can you give me a callback number? I gave them a Google Voice number I'd set up. They never called back, but I knew I'd planted a seed. Companies take credential fraud seriously, especially in pharmaceutical sales where trust and integrity are crucial. Next, I reached out to Marcus's wife. I found her on LinkedIn, Julia Chen, a corporate lawyer. I sent her a message. I'm Rebecca Matthews' ex-husband. I think we should talk about Marcus. She responded within an hour. We met at a bar in the Loop. Julia was nothing like Rebecca. Professional, direct, no nonsense. She ordered a whiskey neat and got straight to the point. My husband had an affair with your wife. Ex-wife, and yes, I know, I caught them together. When? About 2 years ago. That's when I found out. Julia's jaw clenched. 2 years? They've been together for 2 years? At least, probably longer. She downed her whiskey and ordered another. Marcus told me it was only a few months. He said it was a mistake, that he'd ended it. But he's been lying to me for 2 years? Rebecca's pregnant. I tried to tell me the baby was mine, but it's not. I'm assuming it's Marcus's.
Julia laughed bitterly. Marcus had a vasectomy 3 years ago. That's not his baby either. The plot just kept thickening. Then who's the father? No idea, but it's not my husband. She looked at me. What do you want from me, Derek? I want Rebecca to face consequences for once in her life. She's lied, cheated, manipulated, and destroyed lives without ever paying for it. I think together we can change that. I'm listening. We talked for 2 hours. By the end of the night, we had a plan. Julia's law firm specialized in corporate fraud. She had contacts at several major pharmaceutical companies, including Rebecca's employer. She agreed to make some calls, ask some questions about credential verification policies, and generally make Rebecca's professional life uncomfortable. Meanwhile, I had Emma on my side. Emma, who worked in graphic design and a particular talent for social media. Together, we created a private Instagram account documenting Rebecca's lies. Not publicly, that would be too crass, but we sent it to specific people, Rebecca's colleagues, her boss, her family members who'd always thought she was perfect.
The account showed everything. Screenshots of her texts admitting to the affair, copies of the paternity test results showing she'd lied about me being the father, Amanda's corroborating statement about the embezzlement and fake degree. We didn't editorialize, we just presented facts. Within a week, Rebecca's world started crumbling. Her company launched an internal investigation into her expense reports. HR discovered her MBA claim was false. She was placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Marcus's wife filed for divorce and named Rebecca in the filing, detailing the affair. In their social circle, Rebecca became persona non grata. Rebecca's parents called Emma, devastated. They'd always favored Rebecca, the successful daughter, over Emma, this struggling artist. Learning about Rebecca's lies and manipulations shifted that dynamic overnight. And the baby? Turned out the father was some guy Rebecca had been seeing casually before Marcus. She'd conveniently forgotten about him when she needed a father figure. He came forward after hearing about the paternity drama, demanded a test, and confirmed he was the father. He also wanted nothing to do with Rebecca or the baby. I'm not proud of everything I did, but I'm not ashamed either. Rebecca spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough, like I was the problem. She cheated, lied, manipulated, and when that wasn't enough, she tried to trap me with a baby that wasn't mine. People say the best revenge is living well, and they're right. But sometimes living well means making sure the person who wronged you faces consequences. 3 months later, Rebecca lost her job. The investigation found evidence of consistent fraud over 2 years. Her company decided not to press criminal charges, but they fired her and blacklisted her in the industry. She moved back in with her parents, pregnant and unemployed. Emma and I made our relationship public. Her parents, who now saw Rebecca clearly, welcomed me with open arms. We moved in together, into a nice apartment in Lincoln Park, with high ceilings and windows that actually opened. I got a promotion at work. Ironically, around the same time, Rebecca lost her job. The universe has a sense of timing. And Rebecca? Last I heard, she had the baby, a boy. The father wants partial custody, but nothing to do with Rebecca romantically. She's working a retail job and living in her childhood bedroom at 36 years old. I don't take joy in her suffering, but I do take satisfaction in knowing that for once, her actions had consequences. She played games and lost. She built a life on lies, and eventually those lies collapsed. As for Emma and me, we're good. Better than good. We're real. No games, no lies, just two people who found each other in the wreckage of someone else's mess. My name is Derek Matthews. I'm 34 years old, and I learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't about being cruel. It's about making sure the truth comes to light. Rebecca's lies caught up with her not because I destroyed her, but because I simply stopped protecting her from the consequences of her own actions. That's the thing about building a house on lies. Eventually, the foundation cracks and the whole thing comes down. I didn't push Rebecca's house over, I just stopped holding it up. And honestly, that feels better than any revenge I could have planned. So that's my story. Sometimes karma needs a little push, and sometimes the truth is the best weapon you've got. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching this from. Are you Team Derek, or do you think I went too far? I always love seeing our viewers from the US, the Philippines, and Canada light up the comment section. You guys have the best perspectives on these revenge stories. And honestly, your comments are what keep me coming back to share more. So, hit that like button if you think Rebecca got exactly what she deserved, subscribe if you want more stories like this, and don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. Whether you're in New York, Manila, Toronto, or anywhere else in the world, I want to know what you think. Thanks for sticking with me through this wild ride. Until next time, remember, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.